Hey everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. A few final thoughts as we wrap up this week and we look back on this National School Walkout that occurred throughout the United States. Of course, here in Texas, a lot of schools on spring break, so students weren't able to skip out on classes for 17 minutes or more. This whole thing about students marching against the Second Amendment, marching against guns, marching what they say against gun violence. I'm sure some of it is sincere. I'm sure some of it, some students who are marching and protesting are very sincere in their beliefs. In fact, some of their beliefs are legitimate, really, when they say that they should not fear going to school. They're right. Students should not fear going to school. But that doesn't mean we get rid of guns, and it doesn't mean that we get rid of the AR-15. That will do nothing to solve the issue of kids or psychos acting bad at gun-free zones where there is no protection. What we should be doing is making sure that our schools are guarded, whether that is from arming teachers or having more security at our schools. Let's remember that at the school in Florida, there was a school resource officer who was there, and there was a Broward County Sheriff's deputy who did nothing. A sheriff's deputy who stayed outside. Video was released. The Scott Peterson character, this officer who was outside of the high school was listening as shots were being fired, and he did nothing. He stayed outside of the classroom. Why aren't students marching on the sheriff's department and demanding the resignation of the sheriff who says that he's doing a great job, that he's doing an amazing job, yet won't take responsibility for his failures and his department's failures leading up to this shooting? It's already been documented that authorities, within Broward County, knew about this kid, knew about this this psycho who went and killed people. The FBI knew about this guy. Where are the protests being organized by the kids against law enforcement officials who broke their covenant to serve and protect these communities? Now, I'm not trying to say that every law enforcement official is bad. Of course not. And if you watch my show, you know that I'm very pro-police and that those who are doing the right thing should be praised. But there was a failure on the part of government in this case and in other mass shootings. So why is it that we don't have students marching to demand government be held accountable? It's because it's all a ruse. It's all a ruse to make you think that all of these kids are anti-gun and that there's a groundswell of anti-gun support out there. Folks, the Democrats are using these kids. Just look at this Washington Post article again that I pointed out. One of the paragraphs: adult organizations helped organize the walkouts while casting them as pure expression of youthful insight. Liberal communities proudly enabled the walkouts. Liberal parents posted gushing accounts of their children's protest on Facebook. Liberal elite universities rushed to assure kids walking out that they wouldn't hurt them on college applications. Conservative communities, meanwhile, threatened to enforce the rules against disrupting class time, so the protest often ended up a better reflection of adult priorities than childish wisdom. The Women's March group, the organization goes by the hashtag Enough. They're the ones who helped organize all of this. This wasn't a bunch of 14, 15, and 16-year-olds who came up with a protest on their own. This was driven by the left, and you have the left in this nation using children to push an agenda to get rid of not only the Second Amendment, but so many things that are connected to that. It's pretty shameful. If these kids were being honest, and if these liberals were being honest, then not only would they be marching about school safety, but they would be marching on the sheriff's department, and they would be marching even on the FBI to demand accountability and to demand true protection under the law. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.